Good morning once again, and welcome to day 3 of our 365 Bible studies. And today we're looking at an older creation story than the story that we find in the first chapters of Genesis. This will be found in Psalm 74, verses 12 to 17, if you want to look it up in your own Bible. Once again, I'm going to begin with my own translation of these verses. God, my King, is from ancient times, and he works salvation on earth. You separated the sea by your power. You shattered the heads of the dragon in the waters. You crushed the heads of Leviathan. You fed him to the creatures of the wild. You cut outlets for new springs and fast-moving waters. You dried up streams that had flowed forever. The day belongs to you, as also does the night. You set up the lights in the sky and the sun. You have settled all the limits of the earth. You made the summer and the winter. So today I'm taking you back to that rather older creation story, the one that started to gather dust after the Jewish nation had returned from exile in Babylon around 540 BC. When they had been led away, defeated from the ruins of Jerusalem about 70 years before, they were carrying with them ideas about creation that we would hardly recognize, but were not uncommon at the time. Many religions, of course, see life as a struggle between what is wholesome and life-affirming and what is evil and destructive. The ancient faith of Zoroastrianism started in Persia more than 5 centuries before Christ and continues to this day in India. It sees the universe as a struggle between evil Ahriman and benevolent Ahura Mazda, the god of light. In other Middle Eastern mythologies, in the centuries before Christ, there were references to similar struggles, and we have written evidence, stories inscribed on Bronze Age clay tablets found in northern Syria about a struggle between Baal and a monster called Lotan. In early Judaism, this struggle was between the God of existence, called by Moses, I am that I am, or Yahweh, and the forces of chaos, personified as marauding dragons, or an oversized and many-headed reptile named Leviathan, maybe related to Lotan. And we see evidence of that older story in this psalm. This psalm survived and is still in regular use to this day. It is a reminder to us to be tolerant of our ancestors in faith, who did not have the advantages of history and development that are ours. Maths and science were barely beginning at the time of the Babylonian Empire, and we have the advantage of the Renaissance, the Reformation, and the rise of modern science and engineering behind us to help us to understand the world we live in. Stories about gods beating up large reptiles hardly fit into our worldview. But those people of old had curiosity just as we do, and they knew what questions to ask. Why is there something and not nothing? Why are we able to ask questions about our surroundings, such as, how did they come to be like this, and why? Their earliest answers were, of course, to do with their daily struggle to wrest a living from the earth, and their struggle for safety, justice, and peace amongst their neighbours. Something about this mythology did stick, though, and lodged itself in verse 1 of the Genesis story. There was a reference there to the earth being an amorphous emptiness, and darkness covering the face of the immeasurable gulf, while a powerful wind, the Spirit of God, swept over the face of the waters. The chaotic waters were still there in the more sophisticated account, but instead of the world being the wreckage after a fight with a monster, stirring up the chaos of the deep, a much more orderly form of creation is presented to us over a working week to make a friendlier world that we can recognise and be thankful for. Thank you. See you again tomorrow.